I think there's a lot of good lessons to be learned, but I still think it's just a bit of an anomaly. And watching the film last night just reinforced that. And then obviously, when we're talking about Arkansas, we're talking about the largest spread in SEC history.
44?
It's like, yeah, I've heard like 46, 44. I mean, does it right? Yeah. Like, does it matter?
Once you get over 30,
at that
35.
Point, it's almost like an experiment. You just take the points because it's so many points.
Yeah.
No, you actually like the Tigers to cover? I mean,
from what happened to them last weekend,
it pushed,
and how the defense, I expect the defense. I mean, like this, to me, is one of those scheduling breaks that we talked about, and we've talked about this team. Anytime you go on a championship run in any sport, you have got to catch breaks either from a health standpoint or a scheduling standpoint and or both.
Yeah.
Right? And for the most part, I know that LSU battled injury in the beginning of the season, but nothing catastrophic.
But even then, the schedule lined up to where, for the most part, your best players are able to rest for the biggest games.
Right. Todd Harris, up to this point, really is the guy that you lose for the season that really affects you the most. But, I mean, I've brought this up. You face Florida and their backup quarterback. Now, Trask comes in here and throws for 300 yards, and I think that we all debated on this show prior to that game that he was probably an upgrade from Felipe Franks, but still it's a backup quarterback making his first road start in the conference at Tiger Stadium on a Saturday night. You go to Tuscaloosa and Tua's on the banged-up ankle. You go to Oxford, you have that happen to you with that freshman quarterback, dice you up, and here comes Arkansas, the worst team in the league, to bust you out of this slump. I mean, this is just what the doctor ordered as far as the schedule goes. But
I agree.
Here's Orgeron yesterday, and this is a longer soundbite. This one actually extends over 60 seconds, but he's talking about the culture and what he's been battling and trying to create since he was named head coach over 3 years ago.
Well, in order to be the leader, you have to do the things that you believe in, not what somebody else did. And I can't do what somebody else did. That's not me. I wanted this to be one team, one heartbeat. I didn't want this to be a team of individuals, guys who want to make All-American and be first-round draft choices. I wanted this to be a team that played for each other, a team that fought for each other. And I wanted it to be a coach that coached from within, not above. And I wanted everybody to have the same role. Everybody's role, from the manager to the head coach, is equal. We all have to do our jobs in order for this to have success. And I wanted this place to be a place where you want to come to work. I think we've all had jobs where you want to come to work. You get up, you listen to different music, you get there early, you work, you're more productive. We've all been at jobs where you hit the snooze button, work starts at 8, you show up at 7:59, you punch the clock, you can't wait till the bell rings at 3 o'clock. I didn't want this to be that type of job. So I think that the atmosphere within the building, I think people are happy. And I'm not saying it wasn't before, because I enjoyed working for Coach Miles, but I wanted it to be an atmosphere that everybody was pulling on the same side of the rope. Everybody had the same type of role, and everybody wanted to be together. Now, obviously, get great players and get great coaches.
Yeah, the quote that I love out of that, and maybe it was Cody Worsham who highlighted this on Twitter, but it's the quote about coaching from within, not from above. And it's because, look, you can have success coaching from above. There's no one way to skin a cat, right? There's always multiple avenues to success. But in terms of environments that I would want to be a part of, in terms of environments that you would probably want to work at, leading from within sounds like just a more enjoyable environment. And I think he lives that. I don't think that is just lip service. When you look at the delegation that he has of responsibilities, and how, that's one of his main points, right? He kind of stays in his lane and he coaches what he knows how to coach, and he hires other very good coaches to coach what they know how to coach. And eventually we'll stop doing this. But I guess it's easy to draw a lot of comparison points between Coach Miles, because he was the last coach at LSU, and he was also very successful. But you are talking about two completely different styles, because he was more of a from above guy. He would get involved in every position group, little tidbits here or there, and so there's a definite culture change in a lot of respects that has taken place.
His defense, Orgeron's defense, gave up 614 yards of total offense to Ole Miss last Saturday night. Here was him explaining what his message was going to be on Tell the Truth Monday to that group.
The first thing I do is look at myself. I coach the defensive line with those guys too, so I look at the way we went practice last week. I look at what we showed them in practice, what we didn't show them in practice. I look at coaches, what we can get better. Hey, yesterday we spent 3 hours on maybe 4 plays. Hey, what do we need to do to put our guys in better position? I want to make sure as the leaders of the program, we're giving them the right thing at the right time to do. Okay, now, so we're going to give them that today, and we're going to put them in great position, and obviously they're going to have to make the play. So I think it's a combination of both, but I'm never going to put it on the players. I'm going to put it on me first.
And look, I think for this last game, that is accurate. The players had some bad run fits. The tackling was poor, but a lot of times Ole Miss did kind of outman LSU with some creative offense. Look, that Ole Miss offense is pretty badass when it's humming. And I'm telling you, what I can't get away from is like when you're in high school or something and you play a wing T team, a team that just specializes in that style. Because what's the entire point? It's to put you in kind of impossible decision points where they have you outflanked. Now, the thing is, and why it's like, well, then why doesn't everybody run this? Well, there's a little margin of error, right? Because the second you get behind the chains, you're in trouble. Because it's not good at throwing the ball. And even in that first half, it seemed like Rich Rod wasn't willing to go full Rich Rod and just run the hell out of Plumlee. He was still working the other quarterback. But second half, it seemed like he just really let himself go. I'm going to run my offense. And what it does is how you're getting that extra man. Everything works off of this counter action where the 3 strong side linemen all block back. So they've got great angles on these guys. It's an easy block if you're no lineman. And then you're pulling both the backside guard and backside tackle. And you're like, oh, well, T-Bob, how do you account for the backside end? That's where Plumlee comes in. And that's where you get the man advantage because the quarterback is able to account for him through his read. And so they do this counteraction with that line. But then off of that, Jordy, I mean, there's in the first half on the first drive, there's a really great look at it where 3 back-to-back plays, exact same counteraction with the line, but completely different trappings with the skill position. One was just kind of a basic zone read. One was this one was an option. And then one was a fake option where, the running back and everybody looks like they're running the option. Plumlee takes a step there and then he goes back the other way. He falls a puller. So it puts you in a lot of tough decision points. And it didn't seem like LSU was quite ready for it in that second half. But that is also one of the reasons why I don't see it carrying over because you are not going to see if you wanted to be derisive of a system like this, a lot of people would, like back in college, right? You say like Mickey Mouse BS. Like you're not going to see that, I think, later on from any other team.
Here is Orgeron yesterday talking about the mental toughness of his group.
Yeah, I think it comes a point where you can teach and train and coach, but when it comes from within, we all heard Ray Lewis's talk. Effort is between you and you. I think that comes upon those guys. Effort is between you and you. You get out in that field, man, we can put you out there. But as hard as you want to go and as tough as you want to be, that's up to you. All
right, Arkansas's 2-8 in overall. They're 0 in conference, 0-6 in SEC play. As T-Bob said, the spread on this one is plus 40, 44 to 46, no matter where you look. How does Orgeron motivate his group?
Yeah, no question. I have to make sure that we're practicing well. And I think we practiced well last week, except on Tuesday. We were not prepared. I didn't think it was going to get that cold when that wind started blowing. And I don't think Tuesday we had as sharp as practice as we want to, but Wednesday we did. I got to make sure that we have great practices this week. I know our defense is going to be motivated. I know our offense is going to be motivated. Believe it or not, I talked to Coach Ensminger this morning. There's some things that we thought we were sloppy at some things. Obviously the interceptions and stuff like that and the turnovers. So there's a lot of things we can get better. This is a highly motivated staff, highly motivated team.
Barry Looney is the interim coach. He was speaking yesterday also. Here he is, one from him talking about being the underdog coming in Saturday night.
When you're an underdog, which obviously we are, and I've heard this a lot already through being out in public the last few days and just you don't have much to lose. And I stand against that. And I don't believe that. I believe, and our philosophy is we got a lot to gain. We have a lot to gain as a football team this week as far as just reestablishing our identity.
We get it, Barry. Come on down.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? He's doing what he has to do.
No doubt.
It's a tough sell.